Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we're going to start off with a little bit of trigonometry. We are in the Trigonometry Chronicles. This is your host, Timothy Frazier. I want to get 6.3 and 6.4 in your notes so we can go ahead and finish this unit out. If you look, you will see two objectives on your screen. Students will be able to graph sine and cosine functions, and students will be able to determine period, amplitude, and equations of sine and cosine functions. So at the end of this lesson, if you can't say with certainty what you're doing, you need to look back at these notes, you need to look at your homework, and you need to ask me questions. You need to remember a couple of things. When I say the word maximum, it means the highest value possible, the maximum value. The minimum value means the lowest value possible. When I say domain and range, I probably won't use that much in this section, but domain is all possible x values, range is all possible y values. Theta right here, theta is a variable. Theta is the unknown angle measure. I'm more likely going to use this instead of x. And one thing that you need to realize, your calculator needs to be in radian mode. Okay? Do not use degree mode. Degree mode will not help you. Degree mode will get you the wrong answer. You need to be able to change your calculator into degree mode. I mean in radian mode. So radians will be the most important thing. You need to get with that. Next section, or next card. You don't have to write this down. This is optional. But, you know, when it comes test time, you need to know how to do this for each one of these. In my classroom, you know, I have the black and the blues, the Twinkies, if you will. I know a lot of you guys have the iPhone, and a significant number of you guys have Android. When you have each one of these calculators, it's important to know how to set up radian calculation. When you have the black calculator, you're going to hit the button, what's the button? You're going to hit shift, okay? The button shift, okay? You're going to hit the setup. It's in yellow. It's above the menu button. So shift, setup. You're going to go down to the angle option, and you're going to want to put it in rad mode. Okay, if it says rad already, then you're good. If it does not say rad mode, when you get on angle, you're going to hit F2, okay, and change it to make it say rad mode. The blue calculators are similar. Instead of shift, you're going to hit the control button, and that is not how you spell control. You're going to hit the control button, and you're going to hit the setup. It's in green this time, and it's above the F2 or F3 button, I believe. And then same thing, you're going to go to angle, and it needs to say rad. If it doesn't, hit the F2 button. Okay. On the iPhone, you're going to hit the second F button. Okay. And you're going to tap the DRG. Okay, the DRG button, which is right next to it. And you're going to keep hitting it. You're going to repeat until the top of the calculator says rad. Okay, you want it to say that says rad. And on Android, you're going to hit the shift button. Okay, and you're going to hit the DRG button, and you're going to tap the option radian. Okay, so you didn't have to write this down, but you do need to know how to type and put your calculator in radian mode. A little bit of vocabulary. Remember, I'm blending 6.3 and 6.4 together. When we talk about period of a function, when you have a wavy function like this, you know, in some real life applications like sound, the graph of sound, music, electricity, All these real world examples are going to look like this right here. The period is a repeat interval of a graph. So a periodic function will repeat itself during every period that is being looked at. So on our graph right here, ooh, I cannot draw this line straight enough. Oh, okay. Well, anyway, I'm gonna try to do the best I can. So I want you guys to notice that there's one of our repeats, and then it comes back, and let's see if I can do it better with a mouse. No, that's not the repeat. This would be the repeat right here. If you notice, the graph is repeating. The graph is repeating right here and right here. So if you notice that this graph itself, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 periods, okay? 5 repeat intervals where the graph keeps repeating itself. That's what you call a periodic graph or a sinusoidal graph. Amplitude is the adjustment of the max and min values of a graph. I don't know if you can see this clearly. Let me erase this real quick. On this graph, the maximum and minimum values are both 1 and -1. The amplitude can change that. So if the amplitude was like 2, the graph would come up here and down to -2, up to 2, -2. So amplitude just changes the height of your graph. Next card. The basic characteristics of sine and cosine graphs, they basically look the same, and this is going to be kind of hard to do on this little tablet, but when it's basic, your period is going to be 2 pi on both of them. The only difference between the two is that your starting point is different. So if I have 1 and -1, let's put 1, -1 here. Okay. The period is 2 pi. So let's put 2 pi here, and let's put 2 pi right here. Okay, and let's split it up into halves. So let's put a pi right here, and let's put a pi right there, and let's split these in half. So this is going to be pi over 2, and this is going to be 3 pi over 2. So here's one repeat, and let's go ahead and do the same thing right here. So your basic graph is going to look like this when it comes to cosine. And as you'll see later on in this section, I'm going to keep saying smooth curve. So you want to connect these dots with a smooth curve. Okay, that was not bad. And then sine is going to look like this. And then you're going to just connect with a smooth curve. It needs to be a smooth. Ooh, that's not smooth. That would not be smooth. Okay, there you go. A smooth curve. Okay. So this is what the basic look like, and we'll kind of get into what some of our different manipulations are. Writing the equation of sine and cosine graphs given the amplitude and period, it's not really that hard. You're going to determine your amplitude. It's going to have plus and minus in the front of it, because when you use absolute value, whether you put a positive or negative value in for A, it's going to come out positive. So it doesn't matter if you put in like -2 or +2, the absolute value is going to be 2, okay, at the end of the day. So there's always a positive and negative value that'll make this the same. And then you determine your period. I don't remember if I put this in the card or not, but it needs to look like this, okay? 2 pi over k equals your period. Okay, and we'll look in our examples and we'll do a little something like this. And then write your equation in either form that they give you. So if they say write the sine function given your amplitude and period, you're going to use this one. Cosine looks like this. So basically, just what number do they give you? What number can you calculate? And then plug it in. Graphing sine and cosine function. I know it's a lot of steps. These are easy steps, okay? And when we go through our examples, you'll see why. So take your time, pause the video if you need to, and write these steps down. Number one, you need to make a t-chart, okay? Theta's going to go on one side, and y equals whatever you have goes on the other side. Create 5 slots. The first number in the interval goes in the first slot. The last number goes in the last slot. And then you're going to start averaging things out. So average your interval, okay? So you're going to add them, divide by 2. That goes in the middle. And then the 2 remaining slots that you have left, you're going to average the first in step 3. So whatever number you got in step 3, you're going to average the first interval number in step 3, and that's going to go in the second slot. And you should come up with a fraction. It should be a fraction. You're going to do the same thing for step 5, and it's going to go in the fourth slot. And again, that should be a fraction. And then you're going to start plugging into your graph. So like I said, I know it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of easy work. Okay, you're going to calculate your numbers for y equals. And you're going to want to use parentheses when you use this, when you use the calculator for this. And then you're going to plot these points, okay? And when you plot these points, this is what I mean. Theta is your x, and then, obviously your y is y. And then your graph is going to look like this. And you're going to connect them with a smooth curve. Okay? So let's go to our card and let's calculate some things. So then let me pull up my calculator. Okay, so when they say find the value of each function, in class, I probably gave you some instructions like, set everything in radian mode and then calculate. Make sure that you're in radian mode and then plug this stuff in. So say cosine, parentheses, negative pi, divide by 2, close parentheses. And when we plug that in, that should be cosine negative pi divided by 2. Oh wow. I shouldn't have that. Huh. So wait a minute. Cosine. Syntax error. I didn't use the negative. Your fault. Divided by 2. So when you plug this in the calculator, you're gonna get equal to 0. Sine, and then 5 pi divided by 2. And when you plug that in the calculator, that's going to equal 1. When you plug in sine of negative 3 pi divided by 2, you're going to get, I thought this was going to be negative 1, but you're going to get a positive 1 right here. Okay, so basically this is calculator work. Okay, but I just want to kind of make sure that you put stuff in parentheses. Make sure it's in radian mode, so that's why that's here. Let's see. Okay, graph each function for the given interval. Okay, so let's see if I remember our steps correctly. So you're gonna make a t-chart. Okay, so here's theta, and here we have y equals cosine theta. Okay, so here's our t-chart. And we're going to make 5 slots. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then our 5th slot is right there. Terrible hand right now. Okay. So remember I told you your first number goes in the first slot. So I have 5 pi. Okay. Last number goes in the last slot. So I have 7 pi. The middle, we're going to add 5 pi plus 7 pi, and you're going to get 12 pi, okay? And then when you divide that by 2, you're going to get 6 pi, okay? So 6 pi needs to go in here, okay? So that was I hope that was step 3. Step 4 is when you add your first number in your step 3 and then divide by 2. So I have 5 pi plus 6 pi is equal to 11 pi. and then you need to divide by 2. So the number goes 11 pi divided by 2. And then, if you just do your calculations, it's going to be 13 pi over 2. Okay? And then you need to plug these numbers in here. Okay, so it needs to be cosine of 5 pi. Okay, it needs to be cosine of 11 pi over 2. Okay, and you're going to do this 5 times and figure out what these numbers are. So I really should have did this before I started the video, but okay. Cosine of 5 pi. And remember to use your parentheses when you do this. So you're going to have -1 here, and I know the rest of them. If you plug these in, trust me, you're going to get -1, 0, 1, 0, and -1. Okay? You're going to plot them. Okay? So here's your theta. Here's your y, because y equals cosine theta. And here's 1, -1. Here's 1. Okay, so let's kind of make a break here. So this is going to be 5 pi. Okay, and then 11 pi over 2. 6 pi goes right here. This is 13 pi over 2, and then this is 7 pi. Okay, so look what you have. 5 pi goes where -1 is. Okay, and then you have 0, and then you have +1, 0, -1, and then you're going to connect with a smooth curve. So where's my there's my smooth curve. Okay. Okay. So if you follow those steps like I did, and if you need to go back and just kind of do each one, then you're gonna get a graph that looks something like this. For example 5, I should have went ahead and did this off camera, but okay. -2 sine theta. Okay. And then we're going to make 5 slots. Okay. Going to put pi right here. Going to put 0 right here. And that is not 5 slots. Okay, there you go. All right, so when we average, it's going to be 0 plus pi divided by 2. So right here is going to be pi over 4. I mean pi over 2. Okay. 0 plus pi over 2. So 0 plus pi over 2. Okay, is pi over 2, and then you have to divide by 2. So this is pi over 2 divided by 2, which actually turns into pi over 2 times 1/2. So this is equal to pi over 4. Okay. So this is pi over 4. And then I could do the math, but yeah, this is 3 pi over 4, because it goes 1 pi over 4, 2 pi over 2 pi. I'm sorry. This is 1 pi over 4, 2 pi over 4, 3 pi over 4, and 4 pi over 4. I guess if you want to see the math, you can see that too. Okay, so just to make sure that I'm not playing any game. So I have pi over 2, okay, plus pi. So this changes to pi over 2. And then remember, when you add fractions, you got to make the bottom number the same. Okay. So, but if I multiply the bottom by 2, because this is over 1, If I multiply the bottom by 2 to get 2, I have to multiply the top to get 2. So this changes into 2 pi over 2. So this equals, ooh, my bad. Huh. My. And then you got to divide by 2. Okay. So this is 3 pi over 2. And you got to multiply by the reciprocal. So this changes into 3 pi over 4. If you need to know how to work with fractions, just give me a holler. I will help you. So anyway, you got to plug these values in. So let me go ahead and erase this because I'm going to need space for my graph. Okay. So here's my graph. And if I plug in 0 for theta, this is going to be -2 times sine. And then you're going to put a 0 right here. So let's type that in. And get 0 right here. Then you got to plug in pi over 4. So this is going to be -2 sine. And then pi divided by 4. Oh, wow. And I'm tripping because there's supposed to be a 2 right here. And then, so, wow. Wow. Hope you guys noticed that. So it's going to be -2 sine of 2, and then put in pi over 4. So in your calculator, when you type in -2 sine, and then in parentheses, you're going to say, well, you're going to put 2, and then in parentheses, pi over 4. So -2 sine 2 times pi over 4. And you're going to get -2. Plug this in the calculator. You're going to get 0. You're going to get a +2. You're going to get 0. Okay, so your maximum value is going to be 2. Your minimum value is going to be -2. Here's 0. And then pi over 4. And then here's pi over 2. And then 3 pi over 4. And then here's pi. And then just plug in what you know. So here's 0, -2, 0, +2, 0. And then you just plot, and draw your smooth curve. Okay. I know that one seemed a little hard. The homework shouldn't be that hard. What we got, but just give it a try. See what you can come up with. State the amplitude and the period. So remember, amplitude is the number that goes in front, and then the period is going to be K. So your amplitude is going to be A equals 10, or the absolute value of 10. Okay, so that equals 10. And then your period is going to be 2 pi over K. So this is equal to 2 pi over 2, because the 2 is where the K is supposed to be. This is your K, remember, and this is your A. So this is equal to, these cancel out. Your period is going to be pi. Okay, so your amplitude is 10, and your period is pi. And then remember, this is your A, And then this is actually 1/4 times pi, okay? So when you see something like this, put the fraction out. Take the fraction out. So this is going to be your K. So your amplitude is going to be the absolute value of 1/5. So that's 1/5. And then your period is going to be 2 pi over K. And remember, K in this instance is 1/4. So this is going to be 2 pi over 1/4. So if you guys remember, that's going to be 2 pi divided by 1/4. And then when you divide by a fraction, you multiply by its reciprocal. So this is going to be times 4/1. So this is equal to 8 pi. Okay? And then finally, write an equation of the cosine function. Sine will be similar, but when you do the cosine function, it's going to be y equals, remember I told you it has to be plus or minus a cosine of k theta. Okay, so we need to calculate our k and we need to calculate our a. To find a, is going to be plus or minus, okay, 1.5. Okay, remember the I guess you don't need that plus or minus there, do you? So it's going to be 1.5. Okay, so A is going to go right there. And in your K, okay, remember that your period is equal to your period is equal to 2 pi over K. Okay, so your period, they tell you, is 5 pi equals 2 pi over K, and I need to solve for K. So I'm going to multiply both sides by K. So I have K, 5 pi equals 2 pi over K, multiplied by K. So I had to multiply both sides by K so I can cancel that out. So now I have K times 5 pi equals 2 pi. And then you have to divide both sides by 5 pi. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want K by itself. Okay, so these cancel. And now I have K equals 2 over 5 because these pi's are going to cancel. Okay, and that doesn't look like a 5. Let's go ahead and get that together. So there you go. So here's your K and here's your A. So this is going to look like this. Y equals plus or minus A, which is 1.5. Put your cosine. And then K, which is 2 over 5 times theta. Okay, and I always like to put it in parentheses. Okay. Well, I know you're gonna have questions. Okay, I get that. You will have a quiz over this, so hopefully everyone does their homework because we can get our questions answers. But yeah, think about it. Quiz and then unit assessment. But I'm confident. Okay? So see you the next time.